CHAMPSIDE here with four-time National Recruiter of the Year Associate Head Coach at LSU Football Tigers, Mr. Frank Wilson. How you doing today?
I'm doing well, Ken. Thanks for having me.
What can you say about the 2025-2026 LSU Tigers and, your thoughts on the team and how you've improved from last season?
I think we're a team that is probably as cohesive as we've been in our tenure here. Quality young men that work hand in hand with each other, that push one another. And when you look for the intangibles that allow you to have your greatest success, it's not necessarily the individual. Although we have great individual players, I think we have our best team that we've had in our tenure here, just because of the relationships and the culture that's now established. At one point, you're building a culture, and then one point, it's established. I think we have that now with our football team, and I think we're poised to go out and have a good year.
As a recruiter and someone who has an eye for talent, what is one of the things that you look for in your players as you bring them to this football program? What's one of the things that says that person is the right fit?
Number one, they have to be tough. If that's a trait, that's a non-negotiable. Number two, they have to be smart. The old verbiage, dumb jock, that doesn't exist anymore. The game is too technical. The game is too sophisticated in 2025 not to be able to think on the run, to process information at warp speed. And so I think those two things are critical for us. And then to have some grit about yourself, that you're going to get knocked out. It's a volatile sport. What do you do when you get hit and you're on your butt? How do you get up? What happens the next play? And I think if you have those things with a skill set that could accompany it, you'll have the player that you're looking for.
You've coached or recruited 40 individuals who have gone on to the NFL. I'm sure that number has increased since there's been an update. What can you say about some of your past players? I know that you saw the news on Tyrann Mathieu, who you also recruited. He just retired with the Saints, local New Orleans player. What are your thoughts on how your players are doing in the league or how they've done in their careers?
The greatest thing that makes it all rewarding is when you watch them mature from boys to men. They come here and they're 17, they're 18, they're 19 years old, and by the time they're 25, 24, 30 years old, and the maturation process into adulthood begins to take its shape, and they become husbands, they become fathers, they become citizens within society that are tax-paying citizens within society, and they model for their sons the things that you try to emulate, the things that you told them, that you taught them. They're living it, they're doing it, and I think that's extremely important, but also very, very gratifying. That makes our job what it is, that it goes well beyond the football field, but to see them become successful in life is the ultimate championship, if you will.
How do you feel about the first game of the season, Clemson, going on the road to kick things off? How are you preparing for that game?
For us, our approach is 1-0. Once upon a time, it was we got a whole year in review, but the reality is we got one game, and it's the most important game because it's the next one. And so to be able to go out through spring ball and summer football school curriculum and build our team from a strength and conditioning standpoint, from a speed standpoint, from a schematic standpoint, to be better going into fall camp and to peak at the right time when you go into the opener against a very, very quality Clemson team. It's important to us. We've identified that. We've done the things and doing the things that we think are necessary so that we play our best football. That is something we have not done in the previous 3 seasons. Of course, we've lost those openers. And so we're very intentional. Coach Kelly's preparation from strength and conditioning to speed enhancement to how we practice, how short we practice, how long we practice is with purpose and intent. And I think it'll allow us to play our best football when we have the opener this season.
As a former player yourself, coming out of New Orleans and Louisiana, what do you think? Obviously, the team is made up of players from all around, but
Correct.
Especially here in Louisiana, what do you think it is about Louisiana football culture that makes the players here so tremendous, even the ones that are performing at the highest level in the National Football League right now?
I think for us, it's just they grew up wanting to be here. They grew up envisioning themselves here, and then you get a chance to play here. It means a lot. I think LSU is a national brand, a global brand, and when you play in the SEC, it just means more. And whether you're from Baton Rouge, whether you're from Shreveport, whether you're from New Orleans, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Texas, Florida, Georgia, any of those guys that are in our footprint, and we do go beyond. We have some of our student athletes who, that live in California, that live in Indiana, that have a tie more times than not to the South. But I think when you're raised in this footprint, it bodes well for us because it's an honor that you didn't come here just based on what you would get from a collective or an NIL. That although that's part of football now, you love that purple and gold. You love running out in Tiger Stadium.
Well, touching on the NIL, as someone who's been recruiting for years and years and years before the NIL existed, how do you feel like that's impacted, the recruiting classes, and how has that changed the college football, and not just football, but all the amateur sports?
Yeah, I think those student athletes deserve a share, a piece of the pie. They're the ones that put the butts in the seats, and so I think it's appropriate that they get paid. And so I think it's still working the kinks out to make it sustainable for length of time. But we embrace it. We embrace the ability to be able to help compensate student athletes.
Do you think it will change the competitiveness of sports in college at all?
Yeah. You hope not. You hope that they still have the same desires, the same want to go out and compete at a high level. We got a saying here: we're not trading NIL for the NFL. That's still the pot at the end of the rainbow. That we operate on a $14 million budget. The Saints operate on a $278 million budget. So they're drastically different. We do $14 million for 85 scholarship student athletes. They have 53 man roster for $278 million. So there's a difference. And I think as long as that stays in its rightful place, I think college football should not supersede financially that of the National Football League, but that players should be compensated.
Going back to the running backs room, what can you say about the running backs room this year, and how do you think that it'll be elevated in this season?
We have a great mix. We have Caleb Jackson, our most veteran player, who I think is poised to play his best football. I think Caden Durham, who in his freshman campaign was outstanding, will build on that. Then we have two freshmen that are here with us that we're excited about, two of the top 10 running backs in America that make up our room. And so a talented group that we're eager to see take it from the classroom to the football field in this fall season.
What would you describe the style of offense? What would you, if you had to say, LSU's offense is this style of football, what could you say about it?
High speed. I think we got a lot of speed. I think we're very intentional in making people play the width and the length of the field to contain us if their intent is to do so. I think we have a very, very talented wide receiver core. I think we have one of the best quarterbacks in America. I think we have a talented offensive line with a group of running backs that will give you all that they can in an improvement of an area that needs improvement. I think we'll rush the ball extremely well and catch it out of the backfield in this season.
What can you say about Garrett, who's considered a future first-round NFL draft pick?
Yeah,
he's going to lead this team this year.
Yeah, I think he's worthy of the preseason accolades. The beautiful thing about him, he's not content what they have said, but yet he's about putting in the work. And his leadership just oozes right now for our football team. I think he has earned it and done it the right way, waiting his time, going through a season a year ago with full time of the entire season, and then coming back in this year, which I think will be his best year, because there's nothing like experience. Experience is your best teacher. He knows what he's done well. He knows the things he's need to improve on. And I think you'll see in the season, well, he'll continue to build on those things that he did well, but also recognize the things he did not do well and make them a strength of his in this season.
I've been around long enough. When Tyron was here, Patrick Peterson was here, people were calling LSU DBU. Yeah. And now recently they're calling it wide receiver U because of Jefferson and Chase and Brian Thomas. What does that say about the program, and does that just say that it's everywhere like all positions are full of talent?
Well, before we were anything else, we were RBU, right? Way back from Billy Cannon and Jerry Stovall and Charles Alexander, and then the greatness of the Dalton Hilliards and Harvey Williams, and then of course the guy who put us on a plateau that we had not been on when Kevin Falk was the first #1 player in America that decided to stay home. It forever changed the trajectory of LSU football during the Jerry DiNardo years, and then the run that we went on with he, Cecil, and all of those guys, and continued for many years thereafter with Joe Adai, with Leonard Fournette, Clyde Hilaire, and Jeremy Hill, and you go on and on. So I can't let you go on and say all of those other U's without saying RBU. But the same could be said for wide receiver U and DBU. And it's a beautiful thing to be known as such, and to be able to jockey for that bragging right. That usually is a good thing for your program when each could internally within a family say our unit is the one. It's so having Corey Raymond back, I think, is a good thing for us. He'll help us in this season grow and be better than we've been. Having Jake Olsen back for a year or two, Blake Baker back again, as well as Kyle Williams at the defensive line with Coach Kevin Peoples, and I think defensively we'll be better than we have been. I think DBU will take strides to be back in our rightful place and argue that of being DBU.
Last couple questions. As a coach or recruiter or whatever it is in the college atmosphere, what has been your most special and prized moment that you've experienced?
Yeah, see, that's the beautiful thing about college football. In the National Football League, you just coach. You have a scouting department. You have a personnel department. And, of course, there's no academics that go along with it. In earnest, if you cut me open, I'm a high school teacher / coach, right? And so nurturing, developing young student athletes is something that you're called to do, that we enjoy doing, that I enjoy doing. And so for me, it's a combination of all those things. It's modeling for those young men. It's mentoring those young men. It's being there for them when things are well. It's being there for them, more importantly, when things aren't going well. That there's highs and lows, and this is the training ground for what you call life, right? And a lot of time those big decisions in their young life happen at this point. And so for me, it's so much more than coaching football. We compete in this game that we call life, and how to navigate, how to maneuver, so that God could use them to be the best version of them, is my greatest satisfaction. And so, from graduation to NFL draft, on National Signing Day, in the midst of being there for them the day when they have to pull the all-nighter. I think it's a combination of them all that allows it to be gratifying, and something that I sincerely cherish. So I don't know if there's a one thing. I think it's a combination of all those things.
I think anyone who's ever played ball or remembers those type of father figure, those guys that gave them guidance, when they see you, no matter what level they get to, they're like, "Hey, Coach Frank, how you doing?" How does that make you feel when you see those guys that are in the NFL, or maybe they went a different path in life, and they see you and they just so happy to see you because of the impact you had on them?
The feelings are replicated, right? And so it's humbling, it's genuine, it's authentic, it's real. And so we had the Louisiana High School State Coaches Association Clinic this week, and so many of them have gone on to become high school head coaches, assistant coaches. 2 weeks ago, we laid to rest Coach L. Ott, who was the head coach at Etna Carr Junior High School, where so many, that is the pillar, the foundation of what Carr is now, and had been since the 70s until current. I saw next to his coffin, they had a picture of his record as a head coach, and he was 72-4 as the football coach, and it speaks to the culture, the history of a place like Etna Carr, that didn't become a high school till '94 or whatever, but for length of time has always had tremendous success. And I'm saying all that to say, when I went to the service, there were players that played for Coach Ott in the 70s, 80s, 90s, and early 2000s that were all there in all capacities, and it was just it was good to fellowship with people you feel are next of kin, if you will. So it's a beautiful thing to be able to see those guys and spend time with them.
Last question: the goal for the 2025-2026 LSU football Tigers is what?
1-0. 1-0 in week 1. 1-0 in week 2. 1-0 in week 3. To be very strategic, very intentional, and seizing the moment and living in the moment with perspective of win the next one. And then when we look up, let's see where we're at week 12.
CHAMPSIDE here with Mr. Frank Wilson. Thank you for your time. We'll be catching up soon.
Thank you so much for having me.